For our new podcast series called Zelda Essentials, we're talking about what aspects are indispensable for Zelda. Let's start with one of our favorite features, music. You're listening to Zelda Pod Smashers. So I'm pretty excited. I'm here with two musicians who are also big Zelda fans. Hey, Len and Josiah.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hey. So, Len, I actually met you 2 years ago at a Zelda concert.
That's right. This was in London at the Hammersmith.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, it was nice.
That was cool. Yeah.
So, you're a video game composer and you did a few pieces for the Twilight Symphony CDs, right? Of Zelda
Yes.
Reorchestrated.
That's right.
Nice.
But yeah, we all kind of just worked on it as a whole.
Yeah, nice. It's a great CD. Josiah, you have a YouTube channel
Yeah.
and you have some pretty original ideas for game song covers. You come up with lyrics to go with these old tunes, right?
Yep, that's what I do.
Yeah. It's pretty epic, man. I love your songs.
Thank you.
Now, this is a great moment to talk about Zelda music. First of all, the Symphony of the Goddesses concert is touring again. And earlier this year, Zelda got into the Classic FM Hall of Fame, which is a top 300 of classical pieces. And The Legend of Zelda was actually the highest newcomer. It was ranked at 84, which is pretty big for...
It still deserves to be higher, to be honest. I mean, it's Zelda
It does.
music.
Yeah.
I mean, you had like entries like Banjo-Kazooie and
Yeah.
Viva Pinata. Like,
Right.
I think next year it'll do better, but still it's 2 spots higher than, no, 2 spots lower, I guess, than Star Wars. So, not too shabby.
I mean, like for game music, getting on Classic FM, it deserves to be on there in a way, but at the same time, it's silly to see, you know, a couple of entries that
Yeah.
might not like deserve to be in there.
Yeah, but still, it's nice. It's a nice recognition for Zelda to be in there,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and it proves that
Absolutely.
yeah, it has some great music. So you both make Zelda music. What got you into that? How did that happen?
Probably when I played Link to the Past for the first time when I was about 3 or 4. Yeah, it just had a huge impact on me, and that's really the impetus for what got me into music in the first place.
Nice.
Was getting those classic tracks stuck in my head.
Any favorites?
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, probably Link to the Past or maybe Majora's Mask are my favorites in the series
Yeah.
for music. It's hard to choose though, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. The Wind Waker also has surprisingly good music.
Yeah, definitely.
So Len, you do more than just Zelda music. You both do, actually. But why do you like Zelda music? Why is it special to you?
Okay, so let me think back. What was my first Zelda game? It was probably Ocarina of Time. Yeah, I found that it was really unique because like the music was really important to it, especially, you know, the ocarina instrument. So that's what really stuck to me with Ocarina of Time in particular. Then I went to play like Link's Awakening. I played a bit of Majora's Mask, but I stopped pretty quickly because it scared the hell out of me. And it still kind of does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like really dark. Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
So
even the music.
yeah, absolutely. It's a bit strange in some ways. And yeah, I've pretty much played all of the games, except Four Swords Adventures, and of course I haven't played any of the CDI games.
No, those don't count.
Let's not get into that. Have you heard the music from the CDI games? It's quite a departure.
Okay.
You probably don't want to listen to it, but it's kind of interesting. It's still listenable, but it's not really. Doesn't really sound like Zelda. So
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, what does something make? What does it make sound? Come on, English not my native language. What does something?
I know what you're getting. What makes like Zelda music sound like Zelda music? That's what you mean.
Yeah.
So a big part of it is how it's integrated into like the game design. You know, as I mentioned before, with Ocarina of Time, the ocarina is really an essential part of the game. You know, with all the warping and things like that. So in terms of melodies, they are really memorable and they're easy to input as well.
Yeah. Most songs are pretty simple, but
yeah,
that's easier. That makes it easier to remember, right?
Absolutely.
Josiah, any ideas about this?
I think it has a lot to do with, say, like on the NES, you only had like 4 audio tracks to work with. So really the greatest composers had to take those 4 tracks and do something memorable with them. And Mr. Koji Kondo was just a master of that. Just managed to come up with perfect melodies and harmonies and cram them into those 4 tracks.
Yeah. What I think is important is that all the music really matches the environments or the scenes that you're in.
Yeah, it does.
The main themes of every game, for example, they really sound so adventurous. You know, when I hear them, I think, I gotta go explore, I gotta save this princess. While other areas have more of a playful tune, like careless almost. You don't have to worry about saving the world right now. Just talk to some people, have some fun. You know, it's a really nice mix, and the music really matches whatever you're doing there.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of games have that. Yeah, Mario has it, but Mario doesn't really have the variation that Zelda has. That's another thing I really like about Zelda music. Sometimes it's sad.
Well, I guess with Galaxy, it's kind of getting there in a way.
Yeah.
It's more adventurous with Galaxy, but yeah, Mario is still very much fun and light-hearted with the music.
Yeah. Of course, it helps that all the tunes are pretty easy to remember. Because, for example, Final Fantasy, I don't play it, but I do know it has some gorgeous music. To Xanarkand is one of my favorite game songs, actually.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
But it's like a classical piece, very complicated, very complex, I mean. But it's not something that that pops into your head all the time, you know. And Zelda does have that more than other games, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So are you trying to say that more memorable songs makes a better game music? Because that isn't always the case. Because you can have like ambient background music that can sound really good. That can stick to you in a way, but it doesn't exactly sound melodic, and it's not necessarily like something you can hum to.
Yeah, good point.
So like, I mean, you might like cave music like in Zelda, and that sticks to you for some reason, maybe for like nostalgic reasons or whatever. So it's I don't know, it's subjective in a way, but for most people, it's when it comes to melodic songs, it's what they think is good, you know, game music, you know, especially with Zelda.
Yeah, on the Zelda Universe forums, I do sense a difference between people. Like, some really enjoy the Skyward Sword soundtrack because it's so orchestrated and very full, a very rich sound.
So when you this is like an ongoing debate, but when you say orchestrated, do you mean in terms of realism, or do you just mean it just uses orchestral sounds? Although it does have some synthesized elements, but
yeah, I don't know.
Because it's very much I mean, a lot of people say MIDI, but if you know what I mean by MIDI, but it's not very realistic in terms of the sound, but it still conveys meaning. Because you don't have to have realistic sounds to give
true.
meaning to something. So even with Skyward Sword, the soundtrack as a whole it's still pretty good. Even if most of it doesn't sound realistically orchestral.
No.
Right.
Josiah, thoughts?
On Skyward Sword?
Yeah, and about the whole orchestrated versus more, well, classical. No, not classical, but like how the old games were. Simpler, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's interesting. I am guilty of not playing Skyward Sword yet.
Oh.
Because I don't have a Wii.
Ah, yeah.
But
wow, are you kidding me?
I know I'm a bad person.
Oh.
If you have a decent PC, you can emulate it. It'll even look prettier than on the Wii. But anyway.
Interesting.
HD and stuff.
Yeah. The funny thing is I actually have a copy of the game that I picked up, but I've been looking for a cheap Wii to get to play it. But I don't know. I think they both have their merits. Like if you look at Super Mario Galaxy, it's pretty much all orchestrated. I think they actually used a real orchestra for a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
I think they did the same for Skyward Sword. Not everything, but a lot.
Yeah. I don't know, it just really depends on the source material. And, if you can expand upon that efficiently, instead of just burying, like, the melody or whatever.
Yeah. The first time I played Skyward Sword, the first time I finished it, I couldn't remember any song from the game. Just one, like the main theme. But I thought it was a bad soundtrack. But the second time I played it, I actually paid more attention to the soundtrack, and wow, I was blown away. It's so gorgeous, and maybe it's just that we haven't played the game so often that these melodies got stuck in our head. Like Ocarina of Time, most people have played it maybe 10 times or so.
Yeah.
Or maybe another way to think of it is, because you didn't remember the music the first time around, you could say that it was good because the music didn't stick out like a sore thumb, you know. So because it felt immersive and integrated in your first experience of playing the game. Yeah.
True. That might be the case here, because when I hear it on my PC, like a MP3 of the game, I can really enjoy it. It's gorgeous, but I guess it was so integrated in the game that it didn't stand out in a good way, I guess.
Yeah, or maybe you were too busy just waving your arm about and trying to
raging at the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you both play A Link Between Worlds?
No, I've not played it yet. Oh my god. So I got the gold 3DS XL that came with the game, and these days I don't really have time to play games, which is kind of ironic because I'm a game composer. But
I know what
I should try and find that balance of working on music and playing games.
Josiah,
did you play the game, or do you know the music?
I did, yeah, actually. I think it was earlier this year I played through it. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It's cool how they actually like ripped sound effects straight out of Link to the Past and dropped them in that game. So it's not like it sounds similar, it's like the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So it kind of stirred up some nostalgia.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot.
What did you think of the music?
It was pretty good from what I remember.
Yeah, I agree. What they said in advance was, okay guys, it's not going to be orchestrated, but it's made to sound orchestrated.
Right.
And I think it turned out pretty well. If you have a good ear, you can really hear that it's not real instruments. But they sound good, and the compositions are, like what you expect from an orchestrated soundtrack.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's catchier somehow than Skyward Sword, but maybe that's because they were often reusing 16-bit tunes.
That could be.
In general, I like the combination. It'll be interesting to see what will happen for Zelda U.
Oh, when it comes to game music, is actually easier for the sounds to be less realistic, especially with Zelda games. Because with like realistic orchestral stuff, you can only really stick that with like linear cases like cinematics and
Yeah.
maybe some playthrough like dialogue, but in terms of when you're in gameplay, it's hard to like chop up clips of live orchestral recordings and
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. One thing I found out a few months ago actually was that in Ocarina of Time, the Hyrule Field team, the main team pretty much, has like 5 different versions, and the game mixes it up for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no, I think no one ever noticed, but that's probably why it stayed fresh.
It's also like context sensitive, isn't it? Like, you know, if there's an enemy chasing you, it changes, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I do know that's at least the case for the Wind Waker.
Right.
Stuff like that's great. And that was actually their excuse to use MIDI for a very long time. But I hope they might still be able to get the best of both worlds. Have it sound very full and very nice, and still have the variation and...
Yeah, I have a feeling. They'll pull it off.
Yeah, I think so too. They have some great composers there at Nintendo, so should be fine. Well, speaking of which, what do you think of the battle teams, like the boss battles?
You mean like as a series or like specific games?
Well, all the teams in general. Some are really good, but I can never remember them. I was wondering how you feel.
I think with Wind Waker, they sound quite quirky in a way. It just there wasn't much action to it because of the sound of it.
Yeah.
But like the rest of the boss music in the Zelda series is yeah pretty good, stands out. I mean, especially the Twilight Princess ones, they're quite action packed, and you have these arpeggiated strings and
a choir also, I think.
Yes.
Sometimes. Yeah, I like the boss battle themes, but maybe it's because I'm always concentrated on defeating the boss, because I never really remember them. But also I was thinking maybe it's just because you hear this one theme for maybe 10 minutes, and then you've defeated the boss, and then you'll never hear it again.
Yeah.
So it's almost a shame, like, can't they play this song somewhere else, you know? Because it's a nice song, but you just don't get to hear it that much.
Yeah, but for Twilight Princess, like when it gets to the the critical like points, where you hit a weak point, it'll play and that signifies that you can go and beat this boss up, and I think that you can remember. I'm sure you remembered that at least, Stephan.
Yeah, I do think I remember the music sounding different.
That happens with all of the bosses you encounter.
I didn't notice it that much.
When you hit their weak point.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do have to say that the boss battles in Twilight Princess were some of the most epic ones. They were too easy, obviously, but
yeah.
At least the way it looked and sounded was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of space to work with. Is it Argarok? The flying one?
I think
where you
so,
have to use the
claw
hook
shots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not hook, claw shots. And you had to go up to the sky, and yeah, that was pretty grand.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the same without the music.
Yeah, that as well.
Josiah, you mentioned A Link to the Past was your first Zelda game.
Yeah.
It was also mine, so high five.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty awesome to hear how many themes how many recurring themes are from that game.
Especially Zelda's theme that a lot of people think comes
Yeah.
from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Face palm. Yeah.
And the Dark World and
Oh yeah.
the castle theme.
Just like everything in general, like all of the songs from A Link to the Past, they're all great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to. There's some that are like slightly less known, like for example the Triforce Chamber.
Mm.
I couldn't find any arrangements of that when I put up my piano cover of it. That was like over a year ago now.
Uh-huh.
Is
But,
it because
yeah.
most people didn't finish the game to get there?
I don't know, or they just weren't paying attention at the end.
Well,
No.
that's a very, very nice and calming kind of look. You've finished the final fight, and yeah, it was like the perfect song too.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah,
But-
speaking of boss battle music, Ganon's has some of my favorite at the end of Link to the Past.
Ah.
I'd like to attempt to cover that one day, but I don't know if my fingers are fast enough.
That Triforce Chamber song, I think that's also one of those songs that's great, but you only hear it for a few minutes and then it's gone again.
But
Right,
it was
well-
nice that with the Zelda concerts, they played it throughout, the concerts.
Yeah.
Which is nice, yeah.
Actually, the CD that came with the special edition of Skyward Sword, it starts with that very same song,
Yeah, exactly. So,
Triforce Room. But it only lasts for 10 seconds and then it goes into a different song.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Link to the Past has great music. I also like the end theme, like end credits.
Oh, yeah.
it's triumphant and majestic.
Yeah, and a bit nostalgic. That's also because you see all these dead people returning. And, yeah,
Yeah.
great soundtrack. I guess we also covered a little bit like... did we? I read somewhere that if you have really epic music, it doesn't work for games, because if you're in one area you keep hearing the same track over and over and over again, and so it needs to stay neutral. That's what I read. Is that true?
Yeah, I think a lot of composers have to take into account the fact that their music is going to be repeated over again. So I've heard them mention that they think about that while they're composing it.
Yeah.
Because at the same time you have like various sound effects going on, and possibly like voice, like dialogue
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
that too. So you have to take all of these factors in account.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, you should
but
know.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. But it really depends. Like you can still have epic music. It just really depends on the game design.
Yeah.
But in general, it's best to make it more neutral, as you said.
Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus is a pretty good example of epic music.
I haven't played it yet. I want to.
Oh man, it's one of my favorites. Like top 10 for me.
Wow. The game or the soundtrack?
The game soundtrack's also one of my favorite game soundtracks as well.
Hmm. And what does it do? Does it always play the like one long piece when you're fighting these giants, or?
No, it manages to repeat somehow. I don't know how they did it, but I forget the composer's name, but he did it pretty effectively.
Hmm.
To where it stays interesting. But I'm pretty sure they actually used the orchestra for that as well.
Nice. Maybe some smart editing afterwards.
Yeah, something like that. Or the
Yeah, I still need to check out that game.
yeah, it's worth it.
It's funny. I've been interested in the game since the beginning because it was called like a Zelda clone. Not exactly, but it was inspired by Zelda.
Yeah, that's what got me interested in it as well. That was like back in 2005,
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Well, what are your thoughts about the music in Hyrule Warriors with the electrical guitar? Does it belong in Zelda? Would you like to see it return?
I hate to say this, but I got the special one with the scarf.
Nice. Me too.
And I still so I've only opened the box just to wear the scarf and not actually opened the game. So yeah, that means I haven't played the game yet.
Yeah.
So I can't really comment on it. But what would you guys think on the music?
Well, I haven't played it either yet.
Oh no.
But
I know.
but the idea in general, electrical guitar and rock music in Zelda.
I mean, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Zelda. I think if it works in the game itself, because I can imagine it's pretty action-packed with all of these, like so many of them. You have like hundreds of like soldiers and stuff like that. I can imagine that it works.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's the thing. For this game it works, but the first time I heard these rock versions of Zelda songs, I didn't like them that much. You have this pretty good guy on YouTube, Stephan or something like that.
Oh yeah, he's a
You
friend of
make-
mine.
Ah, okay. I like his covers.
Yeah, Family Jewel 7X. That's the guy.
Yeah,
He's pretty famous. At least I think he is.
yeah.
Yeah, he's got a following.
Yeah, just an MP3 or a YouTube video with rock covers of Zelda. I like that. And also for Hyrule Warriors, it's a good match. But in general, I think it's not the best combination. Maybe in a few scenes it could work, but not throughout the whole game. No way.
Yeah, well, it's not really canon, is it? It's not really
No,
part
it's
of the
not.
official, what do you call it, timeline, which I don't
No,
really
it
believe
wasn't
in.
developed by Nintendo, so
Yeah.
I was just wondering. Actually, I would like to see this in the comments. Would you like more rock music in Zelda in the upcoming games, or rather not?
I mean, again, it goes back to game design. If it works in the context, then sure, why not? As long as they don't go over the top, kind of like heavy metal guitar. But because I mean with Zelda music, I mentioned before that it has synthesized elements. So if that is accepted in Zelda music, then I guess why not guitars? You know, electric guitars.
Yeah, I guess. But I think Zelda does have this typical sound. I was reading up on Zelda music on some non-gaming sites, like Classic FM and some other sites. But they said something like Zelda is it sounds folkish, almost like folk music.
Were they referring to Wind Waker?
Several games, I think.
I think in a way it is folky. Like you kind of hear it in Ocarina of Time as well, and it's got more of a. Actually, no, you're right. Yeah, it does. It has a kind of like a Irish feel actually in a way. folky Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of the reasons I like it, or maybe that's why I started liking Irish music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the calm music, the atmosphere, lighthearted. I really hope they can stick to that. Probably, they've done great so far in every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there isn't really like a bad Zelda game, but they've all been good in their own like unique rights.
Yeah.
Same with the music as well. Like there isn't really a soundtrack that sticks out as bad, you know.
No. One of the things I really love about Zelda music is this whole community of fans making music.
Oh
Like-
yeah, absolutely. I know that very well myself.
Yeah. I really love that it inspires so many people.
Absolutely, and it's great because what I do is I take all these covers on YouTube and actually put them on my iPod at work. So that means all the lovely customers at work get to hear all these different Zelda covers, which is great. And they don't realize it. Like it's just music to them, but they don't realize that it's related to the game. or game series rather. So yeah.
It's awesome.
Same thing happened to me with a colleague. She heard Gerudo Valley,
Oh,
and
boy.
then the new remix of the latest Smash Bros. Game.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And now she's probably going to use it in her engagement video.
Oh
So
boy.
it's pretty cool. People don't know how good Zelda music can be, and
Yeah, but I mean, in general, even if it's not Zelda, it's great that game music is more widely accepted.
yeah,
So it's not just like bleeps and bloops, you know.
No.
That's not what video game music is. Everyone can really. I mean, you have like the orchestral sound. You have these you know, like Gerudo Valley. You have the guitar kind of Spanish feel to it. Yeah.
a lot of variation. Anything we didn't talk about yet?
Not really on my end, I don't think.
Oh, I think a good thing to point out is puzzles, because puzzles throughout the series has been really important in the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you give an example?
If it makes sense. Have you played Spirit Tracks?
Yeah.
You have. So Link plays a song on his pipes,
Yeah.
Song of Birds, and it is used to like attract birds, as
Yeah.
it says in the name. So that's like an interesting use of music that works in puzzles.
Yeah, it really makes the music more interactive. I guess that goes for almost every Zelda game. So many you can play an instrument. Well, you could probably fill another podcast of that, just talking about all the different instruments. We won't do that now.
Yeah.
But the integration of music is just so good in Zelda. It's not something that plays in the background. It's something that guides you, that steers you, that motivates you to play almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josiah, do you think we need more vocals in game music?
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
When I first heard Zelda sing, you know,
In Skyward Sword.
yeah, in Skyward
Yeah.
Sword, that was a moment for me. That really was. It was a shame that they didn't have more vocals in the rest of the game, but yeah, that really touched me.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
Yeah, absolutely. They should put in more vocals.
I guess I should probably play Skyward Sword, huh?
Yeah,
should.
yeah, absolutely. But I was gonna say that like game music in general doesn't really have much in the way of vocals. I think they only really go as far as like the choir,
Yeah.
but not really like soloists
Right.
No, maybe in
for some
cutscenes.
reason. Yeah, absolutely with cutscenes, but not really in like dynamic situations.
Oh, another thing I just remembered, a cool music thing in A Link Between Worlds. You have this bar, I guess, where they're also playing music, like with just a guitar and a flute.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
You
forgot
call it
about that.
flute? I think they're just showing that they're taking music seriously.
Yeah.
We had all these great songs, but now we have acoustic covers of it. I think was it a duo of Nintendo employees who recorded those, or is it also synthesized?
I think there was some acoustic sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There was definitely some synthesized stuff as well. So I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah.
an amalgam.
I'll have to check that game out at some point.
Nice. You should.
We'll see.
You both have some good games left to play.
Absolutely.
Alright, I think that's pretty much it. Len and Josiah, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And good luck making music. So everyone, thanks for listening. Be sure to check out their work. I'll put some links down below. As you may have noticed, we have a top and bottom 3 video up for Zelda music. So be sure to watch that if you haven't already. Next up in our Zelda Essentials series is gameplay innovations. For now, let us know what you think makes Zelda music special. And what direction do you want Nintendo to go? More rock music, more orchestrated, or rather simple, catchy tunes. So again, thanks for listening, and see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.